Yvonne, we are clearly seeing a very, very fluid situation at the airport. Look, the question I have to ask is, are protesters there trying to provoke Hong Kong? The scenes are of riot police. They now look like they are fully kitted up, and the riot police have arrived. Is this what the protesters expected? Is this what they've been basically looking for?
I'm not sure if this is what they were looking for, but certainly we've seen that there is panic here in the last couple of minutes or so. As soon as they were able to remove the gentleman that these protesters claim were a mainland public security officer, these protesters ran outside, followed police, tried to block these ambulance and police cars from moving. So they've been using these barricades to try to block them. And all of a sudden, we saw riot gear. You're seeing it right now. They're using trolleys to try to block out some of the entrances here as well from police officers from coming in. But we did see several of them in riot gear marching in. They tried to step in a couple of steps, and then they eventually retreated. So at this point, it's looking to be quite tense. We haven't seen what the next move is right now, but yes, we are seeing here protesters standing on guard.
Right, Yvonne, so clearly an escalation with Hong Kong police officers. We must underline that. It's Hong Kong police officers who have begun an operation. And as you say, they came in after that man that was purported to have been a mainland China security officer, at least purported by the protesters. After that man had been brought out, the officers went in. Do we know who ordered them in? Do we know what they are trying to accomplish inside of the airport?
Well, I think at this point, what we've been seeing here, perhaps they're trying to disperse these crowds. We're not sure exactly. We're still trying to confirm, in fact, that this man that came in was, in fact, a mainland police officer. But he was undercover, as some say. He was pretending to be a protester. And so someone spotted him really close to where the Airport Express entrance is, just over there. And they ended up dragging him over. We're not sure what the motive was at this point, but we have seen police officers themselves use more aggressive tactics here. They're wearing black T-shirts and going undercover and infiltrating these crowds and trying to arrest. So we have seen from both sides, the protesters and police officers are hardening their stances here. And at this point, they're pointing at, they're doing crosses here at the moment. I think they're telling people downstairs in the arrival halls to try to seek some safety, maybe start leaving. But we're still seeing down there, take at the arrival hall, that people are still landing here in Hong Kong as we speak. This is not a complete standstill at the moment, although we still see some canceled flights here that are leaving Hong Kong, but people are still arriving here at this moment.
So Yvonne, the travelling public are getting mixed up in this. Is that what's happening here?
Yes. In fact, we've seen frustration, we've seen confusion from many travelers coming in and out of Hong Kong as well. We saw at one point today when protesters were standing in and blocking these departure gates, that protesters were blocking these travelers from getting through. And there were some clashes between some tourists as well, trying to kind of climb over these protesters and get through and make it to their flight. So it's getting a bit heated here as well. But at this point, we're not seeing a whole lot of world travelers or travelers here at the moment. I think most of them have been told to leave the terminal. The checkout services were closed as of 4:30 this afternoon. So at this point, it's mostly protesters here. We still see some people coming in with luggages and so, but they've been told to contact their respective airlines to see what the disruptions are being. But take a look at that right now. You can see they've used trolleys to try to block these entrances, these roadways into the departure hall here. They were quick to move. That's why we saw so much commotion at the get-go here, because we've seen them do this in the past. They've used barricades. They've used things to try to block. There you see the riot police right now. They are getting off the cars and seeing they're going to try to make it back into the departure hall at this moment. We have not seen any police presence here in the last 5 days that protesters have sit in. This is the fever pitch, I guess, once we saw the crowds, the people that were just herding around this one man. And at one point it looked like he was unconscious. Ambulance were trying to tend to him, and journalists were trying to protect him as well. But you're seeing more and more of this. I'm counting a couple dozen or so are now walking in. They've reached that limit here to finally step in with force. We haven't seen any indications of any kind of tear gas at the moment. That would be certainly a sight to see if there is tear gas in the airport. We haven't seen that yet. Right now, they're still taking a little bit more of a cautious approach, but at this moment, they are coming in.